And now for my next number, I'd like to return to the classics.
Uno, two, tres, four.
And there we go. Okay, sorry for the late start. Something's happened. Like Bruno told me, "Hey, I'll be right back," and I'm like, oh, "Cool, I'll mute myself." He somehow took that as me saying, "Okay, I'll start stream." So I was waiting for him to come back, and he was like confused why I hadn't started stream yet. Hey, welcome in, welcome in. So we're late because incompetence. You know, that's usually what happens. But oh, god damn it. Fucking, I move this all the time. What the hell is going on with your mic? What is happening with your mic? Oh my god, that sounds horrendous.
Horrendous ass. Yeah.
I'm gonna mute your ass.
It's now switched to the mic.
There wasn't another. Oh, I hate you so much. God damn it. All right, so I doubt you know what's going on, but I'm gonna preface this right now. Huh?
That was really fucking funny.
Brutal is laughing because literally he like told me about I guess I don't want to say a meme, but I guess there was this like Korean lady who was trying to pronounce the word coke and it came out as cock. So she was literally saying like, "Please give me a cock." Anyways, so literally, there is so much that happened this week, like this past week. There's so much shit that happened that I could not fit.
I see it on Twitter too.
Hun, no, you don't understand. I couldn't fit everything on today's docket. I chose only the things I.
I'm like, yeah, so much has happened. I've seen so much shit on Twitter that, yeah, there's no.
Well, I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask you, and I ask you guys kind of too, because there was so much that happened. I didn't fit any of the gotcha dramas and controversies in today's segments. So, did you want to try doing a stream later this week, specifically covering gotcha stuff?
It's up to you.
Well, I'm fine with. That's why I'm asking you if you're available. Yeah.
How about we cover half and half? How about that?
Well, no, that's the whole point. We're covering the anime segments today, and if you want, we can cover the gotcha ones this week.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's why I'm asking. Are you okay with doing that?
Like I said, I'm okay covering half the drama stuff, not the drama, the gotcha stuff, and the other half of the anime stuff.
Okay, I'm just gonna take that as you saying, all right, cool. We'll plan a date for that soon. Yeah. So, anyways, just kind of starting off, Bruno. How's your week been going? How are things going with you?
Too much fatigue, and I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, so why did I ask?
No, you're fine. It's just
Yeah, kind of the same with me. Work has been kind of crazy, motherfucker. I had to. Did I tell you I almost like fell down some stairs? Okay, we don't care. All right, anyways, all right, let's continue. Bruno,
hell. I'm here. What are you on about?
what?
What are you on about?
I asked. Did I tell you that I almost fell down some stairs and you didn't say anything?
No, I thought you were mentioning. I thought you were mentioning about something. I thought you were talking about me, and not you.
No, I literally asked the question. Did I tell you I almost fell down some stairs?
I think you did.
Are you okay?
Sound like Batman. That sounds okay.
Okay, I guess I'll save this story for later. Right now we got a couple of segments we gotta get through, but first, gonna say this again. Quite a bit of segments. I don't know how long this is gonna take us. I will try giving every segment the time I think it deserves. But the first one I'm gonna be starting out with is actually a pretty not. Oh my fucking god! So I was gonna tell you I've been having some trouble with X. I don't know what's going on. It has been very annoying. It has been unrefreshing, and then like it keeps giving me that. So if there's a problem with X, just giving you a heads up right now. Uh oh shit, is does my PC looks like it's running slow to you? Bruno? Bruno? Okay, I'm gonna continue at Bruno. So our first bit of docket, it's not anything too crazy, just something I really thought was really cool. So we had this moment happen, I believe where was this located? I think it was in Korea.
I switch. The mic 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 switch.
So the mic switched?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Happened.
Alright, so anyways, this is just a nice little
I was trying to say it loudly, but you couldn't.
loudly la 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 lula.
Loud. Yeah, louder. But nothing happened.
Yeah, I can tell. Anyways, this isn't really like a big news story. It's literally just this guy who was cosplaying as Sanji came up out of nowhere. I don't know if this was staged by like the actual restaurant, if this guy works for the restaurant. Like, there's not really much going on here and talking about like okay, actually right. It's not spelling selectively. This is delicious. What a waste. It's more performance for than the cooking, you know. Yeah, so there's not really anyone telling us if this guy was a crew member who just dressed up like Sanji or if it's just a cosplayer who came by and did this. But essentially, he just kind of came up, pushed this dude aside, and was like, "Watch a true pro at work. If the fucking video wants to work." Oh my god.
I know you like One Piece, and that's how I don't like One Piece at all.
Well, again, it's just a nice little thing. The fact that there's like just again, it's like these. Oh, what is going on? What is happening with X? Okay, I'm just gonna have to ignore the video then. I don't know what's going on with my X. Like I said, I've been having issues today because like while I was trying to set up everything ready for the stream, for some reason, it kept saying you need to refresh your page, or it was saying these things can't load right now. And I was gonna actually tell you, Brutal, if I can't get this stuff to work, we might have to postpone stream. But then it started to work, and I was like, okay, no worries. But now it's loading for some reason. Like you see how the video is being choppy for no reason.
Yep, I can see it.
I don't know what's going on with it. But anyway, so I thought that was just a little tidbit, and that was just kind of like a little warm up to what we're gonna be talking about, because there's quite a bit of shit that happened this week that like I think is just like okay. I'm just gonna get to it. So the first one is this happened recently, but essentially given from Anime Trends. Japanese bank censor Yuri. Financial institutions of Japan unexpectedly blocked all the revenue from a new female romance video game, delaying the release and endangering the development studio. Despite the visual novel, Watakashi Taka Fake Marriage being rated an all audience, the developer claims that the banks classified the work as adult content due to its Yuri theme. For this reason, they have categorically refused to process the money for its digital sales. This alarming measure confirms that a strict wave of financial censorship in Asian countries, where banking entitles entities now act as moral judges. And this has been happening for a while. This isn't just a thing that's just came up overnight. We have seen places like Bank of America, because Bank of America like is the proprietor of Visa and MasterCard, like that's how Bank of America and many other like global banks here in America have been kind of strong arming Japanese stores, sellers, manga artists, and things like that for a while now. Because essentially they've gone to Japan, they have their own course branch in Japan, and they've been using their place saying like, hey, we don't like that you're selling these type of material in spite of it being considered either adult content plus 18 or like within that plus 13 range. We think this is bad. Stop selling it or else. Like I believe we've already covered it once before in the stream, but essentially like we've had I showed that multitude of like small digital stores that once sold like dojinshi and stuff like that had to close up shop for good because they couldn't their payment processor was through Visa. And because Bank of America said if you don't cancel this, like get rid of your this type of material, we're not allowing you to like process any payments. Well, they couldn't. So, and they tried finding a lot of these companies have been trying to find other avenues, but there's because of course Visa, Mastercard, and all these other things have like literally a monopoly on the actual method of purchasing through digital sales. There's not really anything strong enough or safe enough to use to
Yeah.
establish like some sort of revenue through that. So most of those shops had to close up for good. Because dojinshi and hentai manga and all that stuff that sells really well, and if you like take away like 80% of their like market.
And I've definitely bought a good chunk of it, whether from conventions or fucking.
Well, yeah, exactly, and like most dojinshi is actually made and produced by independent artists, like independent creators. It's not, it doesn't have like a huge publishing like platform or industry. Dojinshi is usually made by a small team of developer like actual creators or like a one person army making this stuff, and then these market sells. Then these companies just sell them for them, and they get to take a small profit off of them. But like if
And that cover tells me something I would definitely be interested in getting it.
what?
Something tells me about that cover art that tells me I really want it.
Oh yeah, there's I would like to get some dojinshi, but I just don't know what exactly I'd want to get. And I've like if I want to like support a new IP or if I want to get someone's written work of it, kind of like a fan service one, like a one that's already made of an IP I know. I don't know. I would have to really think about it.
I just have too much of Blue Archive.
That makes sense for you. You know what? I would love some of ZZZ, honestly.
I would definitely like to. I've definitely seen some CCZ, but
Yeah, I heard there was a Pippa one that was made not too long ago.
yeah, with the one where she's
Yeah, like apparently she was like really upset the fact that Lily like they said why did you guys make me like a chud, walking up not I don't think she used the word chud, but why did you make me this like crazy person walking up into a Walmart with guns? Like that was her problem with it. It wasn't the fact that she got like railed by like 16 Walmart employees. It was the fact that like she looked like a homeless person coming up in a Walmart.
I don't know because she always joked about her like going to Walmart or some shit.
Well, yeah, like I mean, like it's. I mean, do you? Okay, I'm gonna ask you a serious question. when you go out to just buy something at like a Walmart, Dollar General, do you like hop in the shower, get yourself nice and clean and everything, and like go out with your like best Sunday vest, or do you just go in some sweats?
I don't know. I just shop at Walmart. That's it. Like everybody else.
Yeah, so do you go in some sweats, or do you actually like try looking like your best?
I mean, it's whatever. It depends on the situation I'm at.
Most of the time, my
Like if
cat
I'm just
like if I just gotta buy something quick, I'll go in my like casual shit. Like I got my shorts, I got my like
exactly. Yeah.
my plain tee that I wear, nothing too crazy.
Yeah. But if I'm in the mood of just like looking good, then yeah.
It is very rare that I think to myself, you know what? I want to look good when I go buy my fucking toothbrush or like fucking Celsius or something at a Walmart or a gas station. I just hop up in there.
You know the idea I actually had was to literally like one day have my cousin film me while I'm shopping while I'm in like my black metal face paint or corpse paint,
Oh,
and I'm
kind of
just
like
like
Kiss.
a lot more extreme.
Oh, screen. Okay.
No, I know that Kiss was the one that got the influence for the makeup, but it was mostly Alice Cooper that got the influence from the black metal face paint or corpse paint.
Well, I don't know too many bands that actually use face paint that often, especially nowadays. But even back then, the only ones I could actually ever think about is like a lot of mare header bands that used to use it for like makeup on the side for eyeliner and stuff. Kiss, of course, is a very notorious one. I mean, I probably think that you don't want to think about these guys, but Insane Clown Posse, they'd wear that shit.
No, but black metal is like it's its own thing. You know, like there's like bands like Burism, Mayhem, and what else?
Well, here, while you think about that, I'm gonna actually go into the greater story. So, okay, so this is the post, and we got a couple people just
Never
commenting.
mind.
Just like for instance, like you have these people say, if a Yuri work is all audiences best treating adult content simply for depicting romance between women, that would indeed be troubling for a discrimination. They're so, but so, oh my god, misogynist, but rather watch two men kissing than have see Yuri. Total, total f words. But like again, like some people are of course upset, but some people are like looking to different avenues what to blame. I actually found this article coming from a Japanese website that states the following: Japanese Yuri game developers are facing an unprecedented financial stagnation. The visual novel Perfect Match to Fake Marriage is a Yuri work centered around female romance, officially rated a suit able to all ages and containing no adult content. So, to clarify, no nudity. Nothing that's going to be explicitly super sexual or not made so this way anyone of all ages could actually watch. Like if a child opened the book up, there would probably be at most holding hands, kissing, and hugging. Nothing that you wouldn't see your parents do, unless you walk in on your parents for some reason. However, several Japanese banks recently suddenly refused a process of all digital sales revenue for the game, forcibly classifying it as adult content solely because it was Yuri themed. This discussion directly forced the release schedule of the post to be postponed, putting development studios' funding chain at risk of breaking. For small and medium-sized indie game teams, having their revenue channels cut off means life or death at test. And I would. I wish they did it here, but I was able to find the actual artist's like the actual creator's name, and I looked it up on X. So I actually have it here because this doesn't show me the translation. So we have it right here. So this is her first post. I'm assuming her. I don't actually know the gender of the creator, but so first post that was made back in October 25th. So new Yuri game, our fake marriage, an unprecedented concept. User, particularly Yuri game, a Yuri goddess like a VTuber, Coco X and Angel Chan guide you and follows Coco's lead to bringing up couples together. Steam store page. Essentially, it's kind of a Cupid mismatch. You get together with other girls kind of mentality. It's a dating sim in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
All right, so
but I'm not sure why they would censor that.
well,
That doesn't
so
seem.
literally going to the next time, she quote retweets her own post that she made in October, saying, "Developer announcement and sharing: Steam sales revenue rejected by bank. Due to the urgent response of above issues, we've spent about a month on it, but still hasn't been resolved. As us at the fake marriage, we released this postponed it for 2 months, to be continued. So they had to postpone because again, this was going to be released soon, but now because of all this situation that happened, she wrote this in August 10th. It is now being postponed for the next 2 months for its release. And again, as the page we just read from the website said, for a small indie team, that is a lot of money that can be lost, and that could make or break a company. Even if they're able to release this game, that doesn't mean they'll have the funding enough to keep the lights on, and they might have to either move offices or sell the game on independently, but the actual company might have to shut down.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, it's not good. But she continues because this isn't her only post. Later, she posted again. She quote retweeted one of her own posts again, going with more updates. The mounted sharing part 2 regarding the refuser on overseas returnment handling. Before that, quick promo. It makes the game from my pin post added to my wish list. Under bank regulations, transition involving the business funds are prohibited. Items involving funds contrary to public morals will be cited as reasons for refusal. Post official refusal. So as they stated here, under bank regulations, transitions involving business funds are prohibited slash items involving funds contrary to public morals. Public morals is the key there. So whatever they're doing is basically go against that very framework, public morals. What is the issue there? If there's no actual adult content show, people can only surmise it being the fact that it's Yuri based, which is very strange. Why would they care so much about a game that's they're not, it's not even, you don't even have to use the argument that there's like Yuri everywhere and like this Yuri anime. It's purely based on the fact that like, are you telling me that your issue is primarily the fact that it is two girls potentially getting together and kissing? Is that your actual issue, or is there something else at play here? From what I've looked up, there hasn't been an official statement outside of what she's been given from this company. Whatever she shared is all the knowledge I have. So I don't know what's actually going on with the banks on why they are doing this. That's why so many people are under the speculation it's because it is a Yuri game. And because of that, there is a preponderance of thinking that, oh, there's got to be sexual content in it. I'm like, well, don't you have someone that goes through an actual process of review to look to see if it is? Like, don't you have someone to actually be like, hey, we actually need to deep dive this game now and make sure that this coincides with our actual policies? And if it does, then you're good. We're going to greenlight you. But if it doesn't, we'll have to you have to make some changes to hopefully it can. But that's not what they're doing. At least, again, not from what she's sharing. So going to the next post I have saved here. This is the last one I was able to get because the rest she was doing, she went to like a convention to kind of like, advertise the game. So that's kind of what she was doing there because of course they need money. But this is the last post she made as of August 11th. Thank you all for your consideration. I'm a Yuri creator. Just I want to create stories where girls build all sorts of relationships with each other in the worlds I make. That's all. To that end, I just eccentric who's poured my entire life and money into this hobby. So I'll leave outside war to you all. Meaning, I'm gonna focus on what I do and what I like in my hobby, and anything that goes against that, I'm not really gonna put much time into effort. Like basically, like if you guys want to like dive deeper into, if you guys want to like talk about the actual like drama around it, that's fine. But I want to go back to working on my thing. So that's kind of what she said. So kind of going back to the actual article after that. Even more worrying is that it's not an isolated incident. In recent years, from Ichijo platforms, again, as we just talked about, Ichijo is one of the platforms that's had these payment processors, like, of course, Bank of America, Visa, MasterCard, have come out and told them, hey, we see you got a lot of these, like, sexual games on there. Either get rid of them, or we're going to shut you down. So Ichijo platforms taking the NSA/FW games down in large numbers under payment processors pressure. Some LGBTQ developers discovering their all ages Yuri works has also been affected. The shadow of financial censorship is SP reading from overseas to Japan. Banks are no longer just movers of funds, but also transform into moral judges conducting reviews under the guise of risk content. And this article is perfectly right. It's 100% correct. payment processors have become moral judges. They have become the arbiters of what they want. So long as they have become the moral arbiters of saying like, hey, this is the content we want you to actually sell. This is the content we want you guys to push forward. And we're like, that's not how this works. You just provide the funds. We're the creators. We're the ones that make the work, and then people purchase them if they're interested or not, and then we just reimburse the sales back to you. And banks have been basically stepping up in recently because this is all stemming from mostly one guy. One guy is essentially not essentially, but basically from what the past controversy. I don't know what's going on right now with Japan's payment process, where that's been going, but like in terms of Visa Mastercard, it's been one dude at the top who's basically I believe the CEO of Japan's Bank of America branch. He's been the one that's been really dug in this. And the guy's not even Asian. The guy's not Asian at all. He's not Japanese. He's not Korean. He's not anything. Guy's white as fuck. I don't know why he's being such a, and he's not even like this, like, if he was like this very strong avowed Christian or something, I could probably make a semblance of an idea why he's doing this. Dude doesn't seem religious at all. So he just has this very strong hate boner for the actual content, and I have to imagine there has to stem from something else, but I can't figure out what. Like, I have see like when I was looking up things for Collective Shout, he does have some ties with those groups. He meaning because like they have like personally sent emails to Bank America and possibly because of games being too sexual for Collective Shout. So he at least has been like throwing his weight around. It's just one of those things that's kind of convenient. It's kind of more not so much a concrete proof, but it is a kind of hypothesis people have been creating because how everything has kind of transpired over the time with both Collected Shout, with the United Nations, and then with Bank of America and the payment processors. Like people are basically like tying together the lines, kind of like that Charlie Day meme, where like he's like sitting there's like, fucking who the hell is this guy? He's not even in the office. So yeah, Bank of America. If the trend continues, Japan's indie game ecosystem, especially the niche areas representative of Famo, Oriental, and Yuri content, will face unprecedented survival pressure. Japanese banks have blocked the Yuri game, and financial institutions begin to act as moral judges. What do you think? Do you think? Okay, that's just him asking the question. But that's essentially the article. I only found two talking about the situation, both Japanese. The other one was just a small skim of what happened. This one was a bit the most detailed one of the bunch, so I kind of went with it. But there aren't really like anyone else talking about the situation outside of like people on X and stuff. But it's definitely one I wanted to like kind of talk about a lot because it's just really frustrating, man. Again, like you put so much time, effort, and money into this. And again, you are abiding by the actual policies that have been put in place. But then you have some dickhead just come out of nowhere. It's like, nope, it doesn't matter that you're following the rules. Fuck you. I don't want to see this. That's why like people really wanted to have like people like Elon Musk to actually do his like X card or whatever the fuck it was because he was talking about making a new service for banking and everything. So people really want him to go through and do that. And it's kind of weird the fact that we keep having to turn to someone like Elon and be like, "Hey Elon, like this shit sucks. Can you do something about it?" Because like you couldn't we need to have an actual honestly, I thought when like we had a lot of this stuff like written down from when Trump did the stuff he did back in the day for the bills he was doing, where he was basically telling payment processors you cannot cancel payments or be the arbiters of this stuff because of like X reason. But it seems like it doesn't apply here because in the sense this is banks in Japan doing it. We don't actually know which banks they actually went along with to basically for them to have say no, you can't actually like gain any revenue from this. But we do know it has to be done with Visa or MasterCard because those there are only like three forms of card carriers I know of. You have Discover, you have Visa, you have MasterCard, and I think there's one other one, but I don't remember what the last one is. American Express, is that still around? Is American Express still around? All forms of payment processors. So we got Square, Stacks, Clover, Leaders, Metro One, GoDaddy, Chase for business. That's not what I was asking. All card payments like Visa and MasterCard. Huh. I haven't heard of half of these. Oh, fuck off. I can't look that up right now. Damn it. But yeah, so that's essentially that story. I'm hoping, like, again, right now they're at a convention in Japan, and looks like it's going pretty well for them. They're essentially
Yeah, Comic Kit, yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah,
essentially,
yeah, Mint. I actually saw a video of Mint literally like.
oh, Mint's at Comic Con.
Yeah.
God damn, Mint
And
does a
then,
lot of touring with conventions,
she was
huh?
at the she was like at the Blue Archive booth, I think. And then she was like,
I didn't know Mint was too much in the Blue Archive.
she was. I mean, when I was like literally talking to her, I was like, I told her, you know, one thing about Blue Archive is that I really like Asuna and Token, and she was like, yeah, you have a thing for maids. I'm like, yeah, that is super true. Because
I think everyone kind of has a thing for maids. I can't think of too many people who don't have a thing for maids.
And then Mint is a maid, of course.
I will say when it comes to ZZZs, one of my favorite factions are I don't remember their name, but like the people in black, the maids and the one butler wolf. I like that faction because their designs are so
Victoria
nice.
Housekeeping.
Yes, I like their designs a lot extensively. I think
Yeah,
they
I do too.
aside aside from the actual, it's great. No, I want to I only unlocked two.
I'm super glad I got the collaboration merch that I literally drove 1 hour to.
No, but that's great. I wish there was more stuff like that that happened for me and here where I live. I mean, there's plenty of events for Magic the Gathering and stuff, but like there isn't like enough events that are anime related for like things like that for like Blue Archive or for like ZZZ or anything like that. There used to be things for Pokemon Go, but that was really about it. And most of that stuff was fan like community that did events like that. It wasn't actual like stores or companies. It was all done with the community involved itself. So people organizers would be coming from the community setting up these things like the shiny egg day hunts. We do a special like because I live really close to a very large pier because of course I'm in Florida, so we got literally like water everywhere. And it's like one of the best areas to go on for like a walk. So people would set up like community days there all the time for like meetups and hangouts where you would just go walk around with people, chat and talk, and then we'd have a big meetup afterwards and do raids and stuff. It was great. I loved it. It was a lot of fun.
Mhm.
But like that's not really a big thing that happens around here. At least not in my center area. I'm sure if I lived in like Orlando or something, it'd be a lot of shit like that. But like I don't live in one of the bigger like metropolitan like city areas.
Mhm.
But anyways, so that's that story. I feel for her. Like I said, right now she's at a convention. She looks like she's doing pretty decently selling her works and like basically advertising the game. So when the game does come out, hopefully it can get like some good attention. Um, I've already put like I've already looked into it. I'm gonna be putting it on my wish list. I'm not a huge fan of dating sim games, but I'm always willing to support like small creators. But anyways, moving on. This isn't really like a huge story. I just found it funny. So, you don't watch anime English dub, right?
Rarely.
Okay, so you wouldn't know who this is. So the VA English voice actor for Kazuma from Konosuba came out and had a. I'm not sure if this is like an interview or an impromptu like discussion, but like so he had a he was talking with this guy, right? And this is kind of what he said. He got in some spicy trouble for this, but this is what he said.
And I also appreciate that he was someone who thinks a lot and then just act like
Okay, so he's specifically talking about Kazuma, the character he's voicing. That's who he's talking about in this scenario.
it's almost like Death Note in a way, where you'd have entire scenes where he's talking out loud to himself for like a minute and a half at a time. If I do this, then this is going to happen. And let me just say it right now. his ass is so neurodivergent. It's 100% neurodivergent. Yeah, I mean, I am the kind of person who will think through every possible outcome of a social situation before I've even gone to that social situation because I want to be prepared so that I don't make a fool of myself. But then I often end up stressing myself out because I'm thinking of all these potential outcomes, 95% of which are never going to happen in the first place.
So he came out and said that. Of course, the video is going to continue, but like he's came out and said that, and so many people came like, he's like, "What the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean Cosmo's neurodivergent? Where is this going?" And then like, of course, this brought in like a bunch of people like bringing in like this is like it brought in basically like, oh, here come the Rhinoids attacking him. Is like, no, you people are just always like trying to inject your like shit into this. It started to actually become like a shit slinging war online, right? My biggest problem with it is the fact that I really want to understand your thought process when you're calling Kazuma neurodivergent. Like, are you seriously believing that? Like, I even showed my roommate this, and he was like, "What the fuck is he talking about?" I'm like, "Yeah, right." Like, going into what he was just saying, like he's like, "Oh, because he's like thinking things differently and all this stuff." I'm like, that's not what inherently what neurodivergence is. Like, neurodivergence is literally usually attended to some sort of like the idea of like how the actual how you process stuff.
Oh shit, it's dead.
What?
What up?
What up?
Give me a second. Oh shit, it's dead.
I thought you said, "Oh shit, it's death." I'm like, death, death and darn it. Here, actually, wait. What am I doing? I have one right here. Boop. Neuro die. There it is. Oh, you. I'm an idiot. What are the symptoms? What are your symptoms of neurodivergent? Should we cure it? Okay, so when he gets back, I want to have this up here.
Not back.
Okay. So just so this way I don't flub it up. When someone is neurodivergent, it means that the brain functions differently from the actual considered typical. The term is often used as described that people with ADHD, autism, dyslexia, or other learning/development differences that affect how they think, learn, and interact with others. Neurodiversity isn't a disorder. Instead, it reflects the idea of neutral variations of the brain functions come to unique strengths and challenges. It also stresses from the importance of acceptance and support. So again, just from that plain bitch definition for neurodivergency, right? Like going into what he was saying. As someone who has watched a shitload of, I love Konosuba. Konosuba is one of my favorite isekais that has come out to date.
Definitely my favorite ones growing up too.
It's great, but like again, going to Kazuma, what exactly of that character do you see a sense of neurodivergency? He was a shut-in NEET who died because he thought a girl was gonna be hit with he thought he was gonna get hit with a truck or something. Turned out to be a fucking tractor going by like 5 miles per hour, and he died from the shock of it. And none of Kazuma's interactions with people in the fantasy ward, or even with someone like Aqua or Darkness or Megumi, spells to me that he has a trouble understanding social cues or anything like that. There is no sense of like, for instance, going again by what I said. How does he have attention disorder? What is your showcase? Like, what is your actual examples giving to me the idea that he has any of these symptoms that would for him to believe this? Literally, Cosmo out of mostly everyone is one of the most plain examples of someone who uses common sense to the fullest in every position he's put in. He's literally somehow always the most. Not only is he the most intelligent person in his group, but it's not even because he's smart. Is that the fact that he just aptly thinks things through up until the point where like a situation presents it where like, oh, I can actually do something sexual related or something wacky and crazy to benefit me, like, greedily in a sense. Like again, the guy brought like helped create like a lot of like modern day items to get rich in the fantasy ward. And most of the time when he's successful in that ward, it's not because like there's something like inherently like he's noticing something that other people aren't noticing. It's just literally he's using his common knowledge to like understand that this situation. Like for instance, a great example, season 3, episode 1, when Cosmo's like after the movie, where he literally was afraid that he was about to get boned by Sylvia. He wanted to join a monastery and become a monk because he was having continuous nightmares of seeing Sylvia in his dreams, basically about to fuck him. So literally, when he like is going to the monastery, they come across a nymph that's just kind of chilling out there on a rock, who is all bandaged up and everything. He's like playing this kind of innocent act of like, oh, woe is me, look how damaged I am. And the girls, being who they are, were like, oh no, we have to help her out. Kazuma immediately sees is like, I'm calling bullshit on this. I'm calling bullshit on this. I've experienced enough shit in this world to understand that there's something fishy about this. But then he comes to terms with like maybe she is legit, maybe she is someone who like, needs some help and everything. Okay, fine. We did a good deed. We helped her out, right? Then he's like, "Oh shit, yeah, I gotta go look at something, guys." And he goes back. He doesn't go back because he suspects something. He truly wanted to go see something. I forgot what it was. But then he sees the nymph chick, like, fucking, I'm just gonna play the scene. It's fucking hilarious. Wait, that's Kadokawa. That's not a good idea. They will probably strike my ass. Never mind. But essentially, he goes back and he sees the nymph chick like fucking scratching her tit and just like saying like, "Man, I was trying to like get them to get a little closer and do some shit. I was like, what was the last time I ate?" Like she went from like the cutesy worries me ooh woo girl to like the chick you see on the corner that just like took out her weave and shit. And, like it was great. I loved it. Like he called it 110%. His intuition was great. But again, there's nothing about Kazuma that screams neurodivergency to me. Like I want to finish the clip just to give him more of a chance to explain. But like, yeah,
So, I think that's what made me so excited when I had the chance to audition for him. Is I think about the first fight scene when he's fighting against the thugs in the alleyway for the first time, and he punches someone. It's like, oh my god, I actually did that. There.
oh, I fucked up. This is on me. It's not Kazuma. It's Subaru. That's my bad.
3-0.
Yeah. But even then, Subaru's not nerd. How is Subaru neurodivergency? How is Subaru that? Have you seen ReZero? Okay, explain to me how you would think that character is neurodivergent.
It's not exactly never.
Exactly. It's not even just that. It's the fact that literally Subaru is put in like the reason why people really like.
At least with Super, he acts a lot more mature. Well, somewhat.
I wouldn't even. Well, yeah, he acts way more mature than Cosmo. If we're comparing like Cosmo to Subaru, it's like night and day. Like Cosmo literally is grabbing chicks' panties and swinging around woohoo style. Subaru's like making maybe a crash joke and then he gets decked in the balls. But in the case of Subaru, though, Subaru is placed into a much darker situation to whereas he understands he is dying a lot and it is beginning to take a toll on his psyche at times. Like, it is not him having the attention deficit disorder. It's not him having autism. It's not him having any of these elements of the actual how his brain works. He is literally attempting to process the amount of times he has died, the amount of time he's seen his friends die, the amount of shit he goes through on an almost weekly, daily basis. It's slowly fucking with him. How is that neurodivergency? That is just a man experiencing like so much like traumatic shit that he's beginning to develop a sort of like almost trauma to it.
Yep, exactly.
Again, that has nothing to do with the neurodiversity, and it's cool that he thinks that. But the problem is that he says like, I got drawn to this character because of this. I'm like, why is that the why is that what you came across from this? Again, he's using the example whenever he's in the alleyway and he fucking like fights the thugs and he ends up winning and like he gets a little happy about himself. I'm like, again, I don't see the connection. I'm just not seeing it, hun.
Yeah, me either.
What was? Oh, this is a weird example, but it will make sense when I describe it. So there was a event that I was a volunteer for where I happened to be witness to two people getting harassed by someone, like verbally and almost physically harassed. And the only thing that I did was record so that if something happened, I had proof to provide to somebody. And they didn't like the people who were assaulting the other people didn't like the fact that I was recording, so all of a sudden they targeted me. And I mean, they came up, they physically assaulted me, they tried to grab my phone. They didn't end up getting it. And you would think, wow, that might be really stressful. But when they left, when they got apprehended devastated when people got a hold of them and all that was over. Instead of me going, oh my god, I'm so scared, oh my god, I can't believe that happened, I was like vibrating with energy going, holy crap, I was the person who got us.
Yes, hon, everyone experiences something differently in those type of situations. That's called an adrenaline rush. You're put into a situation where you maybe at the moment felt a little terrified, and afterwards, after you were able to get a little bit of like reprieve, knowing the fact that the people you were trying to record were put in like basically saw their comeuppance, you took glee from that. You took enjoyment from that. Again, that is not neurodivergency. That is literally just human emotion. Like, how often do you get like scared of something and then the adrenaline spikes up and then you start laughing afterwards? That's just being human, dude. Everyone experiences something differently in a situation like that. And again, you're comparing this to the same way of him interacting with the thugs in the alleyway, where he wins a fight and he gets really happy. I'm gonna take it on a limb here. Subaru doesn't look like the type of guy who wins a lot of fights if he was in his real world. But since he's in a fantasy world and he actually has a bit more like strength in his step, he feels accomplished because he did something. So like just going down the comments is like if you take this as canon source, I'm sorry you're informed how dumb of a person you are. And then of course this is the person who's responding to it like, I'm sorry the poor reading comprehension you have because I never said Sean was canon source. I've already known for never mind. Like this guy just starts getting it, but this is the guy who shared it, right? Bro, you gave him an authority to declare this, only the author. Yeah, so this, I believe the Dazzy guy is one of the people in this actual voice call. I don't know who exactly. Yeah, so people are just kind of like going in basically like saying like this is retarded, this is stupid, and the Dazzy guy's just kind of like defending the position, or at the very least his perspective on the position for Subaru. And it's like one of those things like, yeah, I get it, like, but at the same time, like the idea that like again, if you want to let this man believe that, you can let this man believe that. But the problem is when you present it in an actual like form to like the community, I feel like majority of the time people are gonna rip on you, and if they do, that should be expected. Because again, you're adding this to the actual ether of like, oh, I believe my character is X reason. Oh, why do you believe that? Oh, because he did this one action that has a similar like value to what I did earlier in my career. I'm like, do you have neurodivergency? No. So then the connectivity isn't just there. Then it's you making an assumption based on nothing. And that's kind of like what like a lot of people I've seen have gotten ahead. Like for instance, like I saw Chibi Reviews make a comment on this. I saw Madam Savvy and a few other content creators like talk about this situation just because it's kind of ridiculous. It's nothing crazy. To me, just the guy being a fool. I forgot what Chibi actually said. Let me actually look that up. Chibi or reviews. Chibi has been on like a fucking warpath lately, my dude. He's also been very much more goonery lately. I think. Yeah, he's been extremely goonery lately. Here it is. Okay, so he said relevant since the Usamoshi drum. Oh, that's why he became so like attached to the actual argument. It's because he attributed with the same thing with the Usamoshi. Because while he's an English voice actor, the Usamoshi stuff has like, of course, English localizers and stuff. Not issue, but anime as a whole, we have English voice actors actively pushing narratives to change characters and butcher the author's story without the permission. Chibi is a huge ReZero fan, so of course this was a touchy subject for him. Huh?
No, I'm saying, yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's a huge ReZero fan. I think amongst most of the animes I see him talk about current today has been ReZero, 100 Girlfriends, and Mushoku Tensei. I've never seen this man talk about more animes than those three specific ones. But yeah, so actively, and again, this is what he's not the only one that has this like a kind of thought process. It's either like he's, again, some people might look at that and say like, oh, he's just saying his perspective on something. I'm like, true. The clip's not that long. It's about 3 minutes. You could probably gather different kind of different things. The problem then becomes like when you go about talking about these characters in everyday life to like, your fans or your community or even like the reasons why you decide to take up the role. You're attributing traits to something that don't need to have them. It's like, oh, I really fell in love with this character. Oh, why? Well, because I found out that they're probably just they're like retarded like me, and it's like you look at the character and I'm like, where do you see that? Like, why do you think that? What? It's same thing as like kind of like the idea of like saying like, why did you decide to play this character? Oh, because they're gay too. I'm like, that's nice, but like, there's nothing else. There's nothing more like you want to dig deeper into like why like their traits, their habits. Did you think that like the story was really cool for their backstory, or anything like that? Is it really something so surface level as to because you felt in some way relatable to them? That's why you're attributing that. And again, it goes back to the neurodivergency, the idea of like, oh, I really like this character and he has to be this thing because it just makes sense. And it's like, I don't think it really does. But yeah, so that's that. Okay, so and the reason why I brought up the fucking Kadokawa thing just now, it was a joke, but we actually have a new Kadokawa story. Yay! It seems like I want to say now about 25% of our streams have been talking about Kadokawa now. So this actually came from Chibi. He's the first person I saw talk about it, and I actually found a nice article going over it. So Kadokawa is now targeting YouTubers, forcing YouTube to unmask anime recap channels. California federal court ruled on YouTuber must comply with Kadokawa's demands. And even a small snippet. I don't know which article this is, but it says court rejects fair use claim order. Actually, wait, I think this is the article I found. Let me just double check. Yeah, okay, so I did find it. Nice. So I can actually just go straight to the article. This is provided by Tono Freak. Never actually seen this website before. This is the first time I ever found it. But as it states, court rejects fair use claims, orders YouTube to unmask anime recap channels. So I want to preface this before we actually go into the article. These are not English content creators. These are all Korean content creators that Kadokawa has struck. So none of these people are actually admitted to like here in the States. So there is a small set of differences of rules, but this did get put through the California court. So that's I just want to preface that now, so this way people don't think like oh my god they're attacking us. I'm like no it's not that. But Kadokawa is known to strike down channels and basically pirated sites because they don't like their shit getting out there. So, a California federal court has ordered YouTube to unmask 3 popular South Korean creators of anime recap channels. The creators filed a motion to quash the DMCA subpoenaed request to Japanese publishers Kadokawa, but the court rejected the fair use claim, which is now under appeal. Japanese publishing giant Kadokawa is known for responding aggressively to copyright infringers, including creators of shared narratives recaps of content on YouTube. These channels are highly popular and generate many millions of views. And I'm going to pause right there. I'm going to say just for me too, yes, I sometimes do like watching recap channels. Not so much recap channels going over anime, but recap channels going over manga. Because instead of like, it's to me, I think of it like kind of an audiobook. I don't always have time to read manga. So having someone just kind of like tell me the story helps out. The difference is the recap channels I watch, while yes, they are basically recapping through the manga and pages, they are giving it in their own. It's kind of like think of it kind of like a bad localizer. They're translating it and like shortening some of the actual things people say and like describing things in the actual manga with while adding in some jokes and memories. Like I follow like 2 of them online because I think they do pretty good work when it comes to recapping stuff and like always keeping up to date with like the newest chapters. They do use voice text though, so it is AI that reads the manga. Yeah, so what was I? Often the narration of the commentary publisher equates to a piracy. In January, Kadokawa tried to unmask 3 YouTubers, each with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, to the U.S. federal court. The company requested the DMCA subpoena, complying with YouTube to expose their identity information. We can get into that later in the actual like idea of how that's bad, but anyways, These subpoenas are often mere formalities and only need a signature of the court clerk to be issued. However, in this case, the YouTube did not simply hand over the request information, as three of these targeted YouTubers filed a motion to quash. Now, I was gonna look this up, but they actually go into like the quash, so motion to quash. Three creators argued that their YouTube channels are not simple piracy operations. Instead, they describe their videos as Korean language commentators review and analyze content aimed at Korean speaking audience. These videos use selective portions of unyielding works, connections with Korean narration, explanation, summary, commentary, and creator-specific presentations. They were not uploaded with full episodes or raw representations of the copyright works they wrote. The three channels certainly not small fish. Bago Kim and Woro Jo Yang both have more than 500,000 subscribers, while Yongi, oh my god, Yong Yong Ko is not far behind with 350k followers. All the channels featured hundreds of videos covering widely variety of anime content. These include Kadokawa titles as summarized in the table top. So they actually just show like two of these shows, and it just says, I know this one. This one just dropped. It's the new Devil one. I'm not really familiar with this one. And this kind of just shows like what the actual context is. So, for instance, Boshiko's Kim features original mascot character and text to speech, meaning the actual narration is done through AI rather than them actually doing the narration themselves. And it even says though dialogue and custom scripts, meaning the actual narration is happening. What are you talking about? Well, hey, welcome in. We were talking about a Yuri game that got basically any revenue it would have made. It basically made it so this way people couldn't purchase the game. So they canceled any payment process. The process company canceled any like potential payments that was going to go through to purchase the game, and it was specifically a Yuri graphic novel game. It was a novel game, so it was one of those like dating sims that kind of like worked as a novel. You choose your path and everything like that. So that really sucked. Some cosplayer was dressed like Sanji, was cooking up a storm with fried rice, and the voice actor, the English voice actor for Subaru for ReZero, basically made the claim that Subaru is probably neurodivergent. That's so far what we've covered. Right now, we're talking about how Kadokawa is trying to copyright claim a bunch of South Korean YouTubers for their recap channels. So again, Oshinoko, so Woju Tiang, Korean language anime review, media analyst featuring voiceover narration. So they themselves are the ones doing the voiceover. And then Yori Ko, the actual Yori Ko, I believe, is that's Moshiro Kim's. Okay, so never mind. So review character featuring custom Korean subtitles, reactions, sound effects, and plot commentary. So again, if this to me, okay, so this right here, if they are true on what they're saying, because I haven't actually looked up these channels, but if this to you is not yet actually breaking the terms of like, if it's not actually like hitting those lines of transformative, I don't know what really can be when it comes to. At that point, you can't have a recap channel at all unless you make a small synopsis description of something, because again, review/recap featuring custom Korean subtitles. That means he himself is going in there and putting in the subtitles for everything he's doing. Reactions, meaning he's actually reacting to it. Now again, reactions, that's debatable. Some people can literally go, wow, oh, no way. So it really depends on what the content is. People couldn't purchase game. Yeah, so payment processors came in and were like, hey, you're making a Yuri game. And we don't like that because it probably has adult content. So we're not going to allow you to actually like sell this game. Any payment that people try using to purchase it will not actually go through for your for your profits. And the companies and the company that made the game are like, there's no adult content in this game. This is for all ages. So a fucking like 10-year-old could play this game and not be anything. At most, you might see the characters hold hands, hug, or say "I love you" with each other. And the company's like, "Fuck you, we don't care." That's basically it. In their defense, the creators argue that instead of competing with the original content, they drive up traffic. Now, again, that is a typical answer. Most people who do recap or commentary, anything like that, as an argument. And like any commentary channel you watch or any like reactionary streamers, like again using VTubers as a great example, they're not trying to take their argument is always going to be I'm not trying to take away the work, like take away views from the original work. I'm just trying to react to it and give my audiences something to be entertained by. The problem is it's very easy to make that argument and basically look at your channel. Like again, this is like kind of going back to remember how me and you were discussing about Akko why she doesn't like Smugglana too much.
Yeah.
This kind of falls into that. The idea of like what is considered to be a good reactor, what is considered to make something transformative enough that it does not take away from the original work, and this new thing could be seen as its own piece of work, right? Like for instance,
Give me a second. I gotta take care of something quick. Hold up.
did you want me to continue without you, or
Yeah, you can continue.
okay? Just gonna take a quick swig of my water. But yeah, this falls in line with that kind of idea. And I would say if anyone watching remembers him, Jinx, but then again, there's so many video games, or not say for the work, for exactly, but that's the thing. Many payment processors now, well, in the case of especially in Bank of America, they don't like the fact that there's a lot of not safe for work material out there. They want to kind of like put a kibosh in it. The problem is, it seems like that kind of like moral judgment is only going into one direction, into things like doujinshi or mangaka or anything like that from the side of like Japan. But they're all fine and well with doing shit like over here in the West with like OnlyFans and like many like organizations for like Pornhub and stuff. That's all well and good, but if it comes from Japan, when again doujinshi and everything, there's a problem. Hentai is a problem for them, and I can only imagine it's because they see the two as not on the same equal footing. One, because it's real people and has like established like kind of like ties in with a lot of these payment processors, it's fine. Meanwhile, the other is art, it's drawings. So because of that, it's to me, it's like the same idea about like a lot of movie critics back in the day, like the old established guard of media critics on like television shows. Not exactly Siskel and Ebert, but along those ties. The people who worked in the Academy, the Oscars and stuff, right? They never saw animation as being nothing more than something made for kids, and because of that, they never actually would make an effort or an argument as to why something that is by animation could ever be on the same level as something like the Titanic or the Lord of the Rings or any of that stuff. So you wouldn't see many of the animated films that we used to watch back in the day that we thought was really good and really well written on any of those. You wouldn't see like for best actor, right? Let's say let's random voice actor for Disney who voiced this character. You wouldn't see that. They had to make separate categories for those things. Like again, best animated film of the year. Wasn't there before. They added that in later because the fact that many actual studios felt slighted that they wouldn't actually even like take notice of their work. Because I agree with that. That's very fucked up. The fact that you guys wouldn't even put them anywhere close on the same pedestal as your live action fucking like real telling of a story of this guy, things like that. Again, I'm not trying to be an asshole to like many of the fucking like stories like that, like for Hacksaw Ridge, even though like it's loosely based on historical events, it's not really based on it entirely. But that's kind of let's see, what does it say? So many good movies and shows that are probably even better than Titanic. I agree with you. There are always I understand why people like the Titanic. I still hold that movie is like this is a good movie. It is not the best movie of all time. I will say that for a lot of films. I personally think Terminator 2, for instance, outbeats the Titanic greatly. I think Predator beats the Titanic out greatly. There's so many films I find much more enjoyable and are more like consistently clean with its story and its narrative than the Titanic. But anyways, again, that's not here or there. But that's kind of my example. What's it say? Cyberpunk landscape is 10 out of 10, better than a lot of the movies. Oh my god, yeah. But I can talk about media all day. I was even thinking about doing a media coverage stuff earlier in my like YouTube career. Like I was gonna wanted to talk about. The problem is I just don't see a lot of movies nowadays. I don't go out to the theater too much. If I do go to the theater, it has to be a movie that I'm really, really wanting to go see. Hell, there were 3 movies that came out recently, like in the past like few months, that I really wanted to see, and either I just couldn't have time to get out to, uh, it was sold out, so I didn't have time to go out to see it, or I just didn't make time. Literally, fucking Markiplier's Iron Lung, um, Obsession, and the Backrooms. I love Pixel Kane, so he's one of my new favorite creators that does like anything analog or anything horror related. And I didn't even go see that. I wanted to so badly, but I didn't. I just haven't had the time. Plus, when I think about it reasonably, oh, do I really want to spend time getting out of work, going to the fucking movie theaters, buying a $16 ticket, and sitting in the theater for about 2 3 hours, and then getting back home like around 10 at night? That's usually where my thought process goes. It really shouldn't be. If I really wanted to talk about a movie and film, could push past that easily. I just don't want to spend the time doing that. I'd rather go home and then watch an anime for that long and then work on a review for that or something, or work on a discussion for that. Like, and plus, there's more. I enjoy Japanese media way more than I do current day media. Let's see. Studio Ghibli animated, they better than it's like, yeah. There's again. Studio Ghibli is one of those companies that basically help break the mode for the Oscars and the Academy Awards to start looking at animation differently. Because you have to remember, at one point in time, Spirited Away, like, so here are the movies that actually got nominated for best movie ever before the animated it got its own category. So Snow White, that got put on. I believe Snow White was one of those. Let me double check. I want to double check my sources on this. Animated films that were nominated for best picture. So we had Beauty and the Beast in 1991, Up in 2009, Toy Story 3 in 2010, and is that really it? Crystal and Snow White was on there. Yeah, there it is. Should have been nominated. But yeah, those are the only 3 movies that have ever actually been so big that broke into the actual potentiality of getting nominated for Best Picture of the Year. And these are, I would say, I love Beauty and the Beast. It is one of my favorite classic Disney Renaissance films. But outside of that, like Up has the best 10-minute opening of a film I've seen in a long time. The problem is the rest of the film. And Toy Story 3 has a great ending. Best ending. It is literally exactly what I wanted to see as an ending, as a nice somber ending to both Andy's story and for a next step for the toys that he grew up with. That was beautiful. But again, you then look at the other 2/3 of the movie in the beginning, and there's a lot of problems that come out from that. Lotso himself is just a fucking like reskin version of Stinky Pete from the second movie. He really just is. The twist villain just really didn't work with him because they already did a better version of that with Stinky Pete. But again, that's just like one problem. And again, we're getting into like things that are not anime related, so I'm gonna go back to talk about what I was talking about. Damn it. Okay. Damn it. No. All right. So, kind of going back to this. Um, all 3 include links to the Korean's licensed anime streaming platform Lafleo. That's basically their version, I believe, of YouTube, and their video descriptions and pinned comments. According to the analytics data shared by Kim, he generated 1,014,000 clicks, thoughts of Lafleo and the channel with 82% engagement rate. The creators pointed out that Kadokawa had taken down their videos before, but they failed it in legal steps. And that it failed to take any legal steps when it fired a counter notification. As a result, the videos were reinstored by YouTube. This means that the current effort was used as a pressure tactic, they argued. Such repeated context suggests that the presenter subpoena may not be directed toward the genuine intent of pursuing legitimacy, but rather that reflects the overboard of a conceivment of use DMCA process, the creators notes. And honestly, I agree with them there. Because again, that's why YouTube has the actual strike system and why many companies abuse it. Because even if, right, you win the appeal, even if a company strikes you down and you put in an appeal and then YouTube later reinstates your video through the appeal process, cool. That's still X amount of time that the video was down. So that means that wasn't more clicks, views, or likes or comments that video was getting in that time frame. So, and many companies do that and abuse that during that process. So this way you start losing that 1 to 2 week like engagement farm. Because after that, people start moving on to the next video. It's a vicious cycle when it comes to like content creation, but it's one that actually like is like a double-edged sword, right? When your video does well, it does well. When your video doesn't do well, it doesn't do well. And it could sometimes take a while for people to go back and watch a video that probably had like 100 views at one point, and then something came up that was relevant, and someone went to go check it out. But at the same time, something like that could happen in reverse, where your video gets a lot of like views early in its stages, but then out of nowhere, it peters out and it starts getting no traction. And in this case, the actual claim system can be responsible for that. In this case, they probably took it down just enough. Because again, why didn't if this was such a hindrance to Kadokawa and they really hated this? Why didn't they take the next step? And one of the reasons why I surmise that they didn't take the next steps is because they understand the precedent. No one wants to be the company that sets the precedent of suing a content creator over the works. Because if that happens, only two things can happen from going forward. You either win the lawsuit and you get money back from the actual content creators, but now you set the precedent for YouTube to start changing the algorithm, and that fucks over a lot of people, and people will be like, well, why do they care then? They get that money. I'm like, because that also hurts them in the long run, because that makes them look like the assholes that many people already are accusing them of being, and that could hurt their bottom line later down the line. Or they lose the lawsuit, nothing really comes from it, and now people start taking advantage of that and start kind of saying like, well, if they got away with it, maybe I can get away with it. Again, my analogy and my like description is not perfect. I understand that, but this is kind of how I feel about the subject. And while sometimes I argue why companies don't take that next step. Again, one of the best examples I give is Twitch. Like Twitch for the longest time, streamers like back in I think it was 2020. You got to remember, at one point in time in 2020, Twitch streamers were going wild. They were listening to so much like copyrighted music in the background from like people like fucking Snoop Dogg, 50 Cent, fucking Lady Gaga, Tyler Perry, all those people. Always blasting in the background, right? While they were playing their games or they're shooting the shit with their chat, whatever. And then like YouTubers were like, hey, y'all better cut that shit out, because if you don't, that's going to fuck over your bottom line. And they're like, what are you guys talking about? What do you guys know? What happened? Eventually, the music industry came down, put their foot down, and told Twitch, hey, you keep letting these people play our music. If you don't put a stop to that soon, we will send you a cease and desist. Twitch didn't listen. Cease and desist came, and then Twitch started scrambling, going like, okay, everyone, we are changing the entire system. You will no longer be able to play any of these music on your platform ever again. You can't, or we're fucked. And this hurt Twitch's revenue by a large margin, because I forget exactly what happened. I'm going off purely by memory, but something happened where that's what it was. Twitch didn't have any safeguards be put in place in their policy. So when the actual like cease and desist came in from the actual music companies, it made it so this way Twitch basically shifted the back foot to the actual content creators. So the content creators would have lost so much more if this would have gone through. And because of that, many of the actual streamers started fucking scrambling and freaking out. Now, Twitch later added some guidelines and protectors into their policies that you had to, of course, sign. But the fact that Twitch was going for so long as it was, and none of this was ever thought about in their heads. They never once thought, hey, you know what would happen if like Master Chef decided to fucking like crack down on us and like we were on the line for like thousands upon thousands of dollars because we were letting our streamers just kind of like sleep while that shit was playing in the background. So no, it's crazy, right? Twitch doesn't think. Many companies don't think, but that's beside the point. Let's see. What's actually the genuine difference between Twitch streaming and YouTube? So the general difference is one, policy, two, how you actually want your content to be showcased. So Twitch is a primarily only streaming platform, meaning while you can have VODs on there, eventually your VODs will disappear because it can only hold so many on there until it basically like deletes older VODs that are about 3 or 4 months old and allows the new ones to cycle in. Not only that, but Twitch has its own system for revenue that just kind of like works for them. I think it's now the 70-30 split where I think Twitch takes about 30% of your overall like Twitch donations and ad revenue and stuff, and you get the 70. Just kind of like that. In YouTube's case, YouTube is a content place that you don't need to stream to make successful. You don't need to make content to make successful. It is a platform that has more open availability and versatility. However, YouTube, because they've been in this game for so long, has a lot more guidelines and restrictions in what you do than almost any other platform. You have to be, and this is why I say YouTubers understand this when it comes to DMCAs and everything more than any other platform. Kick, you can kind of do whatever the fuck you want. Kind of the same thing with Rumble, but to a different extent and to a much smaller audience. But that's kind of like the general difference between the streaming platforms. YouTube is a platform that just so happens to have streaming, while the others are all streaming platforms. Like YouTube, there's a variety amount of different ways you can watch something and engage with someone's content. Now, that doesn't mean the actual content creator will always get like, a lot of revenue from that. Like there's plenty of channels that just do shorts on YouTube, but they don't make a lot of money from that. Like I believe like you need to have like a million views on one short to get like, I think like, what was it, like $50 or some shit like that? All my streamer buddies besides you, they all use Twitch because on Twitch, it's easier to get revenue generated, and because Twitch already has a built-in streaming like user base, people are always looking for new content creators to watch through streaming. That's the whole point of it. Here on YouTube though, it's yeah, where you sometimes see like notifications saying like, hey, this streamer has gone live. Sure, but you're mostly going to see the content first from a channel, and then you'll probably see either a short in your algorithm or you'll see a live stream happening. Again, because YouTube is a platform that prioritizes its mainline media content, that being actually edited form videos, before they prioritize streaming. Streaming is available. Streaming is good on YouTube. Streaming is pretty healthy on YouTube. However, because it is not the main source of YouTube's like focus, it is not always going to be shared as much as everything else, and it's not always going to and it has different policies it works under than that of Twitch. Twitch is all streaming nonstop. So it's much easier to gain like again, like how easy it is for you to basically like this streamer I want to see someone play League of Legends. Type in League of Legends. You then get a swath list of people who are playing the game right now. And you just scroll, see who you're interested in. Oh, this person's got a cute avatar. Oh, this person's a VTuber. Oh, this person looks like he's really good at the game. Things like that. In YouTube's case, if you type it, like for instance, if I go right now, go to YouTube. Here's my YouTube page. I follow this VTuber, so I see her live streaming.
Is the stream over?
No.
Okay.
Anyways, so I follow this VTuber, so I'm seeing her stream, right? I follow this content creator, so I'm seeing his video that just got uploaded. I don't know what the fuck this thing is right here, but I'm being shared it. It's a clip from Mulan for some reason. And then here's my shorts. And again, I follow this streamer, so I'm going to see her stream. And then here's more shorts that are catered to what I've looked up recently. Manhwa recap, Things involving Magic the Gathering, Space King, can't wait for this. That's why. This is how the platform works. This is how the algorithm works. Here are my subscriptions. I see everyone that I follow. It shows me who's live and who isn't. But again, as you can, and if I go to how is it? I go to history playlist, liked video, show. What? Were you talking to me?
No, it's just no, just sending a text message.
Okay. You can kind of see here they have it so this way you can actually explore for shopping, music, movies, and then there's live now. So you click on live, and this is where you actually see who's live for content creation. But again, what the fuck?
Oh yeah, click on it. Click on
No,
it.
I'm not clicking on that.
Give me the link then to see what's going on.
You want me to click on white chicks and see what the fuck it is?
No, just give me the link. Just
Okay. Let's see. I can't share it. It's not giving me the ability to share. Why do you want to see this?
Because I like seeing so many weird and bizarre shit on YouTube.
It's not. No, I don't want that added. I don't want that added.
Rock Love. Rock
Yeah, I'll do it later. I'm sure that guy's gonna keep going for later. Anyways, but yeah, that's kind of primarily why.
No, I already typed it in.
Oh my god. So it's like build an audience on streaming first, maybe do Twitch if you want to create videos. Yeah, exactly. Like if you want to create content on YouTube.
I'm literally reacting to this, and it's a bunch of. I don't know if I want to say this. It's like literally black dudes, like literally putting like reverse blackface.
It's as it's described. It's white chicks. It's the movie White Chicks with the Wayans brothers who dressed up like white women because they accidentally knocked out the fucking chicks they were trying to protect. That's the joke. It's probably a couple of black guys putting on prosthetics to make themselves look like the white chick characters from White Chicks with the Wayans brothers, and then going around acting like a fool. It's just another form of nuisance.
Yeah, but these dudes like literally just like painted their faces white. Like that's why I say my first blackface.
Well, yeah, because in the actual terms of like White Chicks, the movie, they wore prosthetics, like they wore actual masks, so they probably just like did that.
So weird.
It's people do stupid shit for a joke all the time, hun. It is not surprising to me. Like Lily, did you ever see the guy who like basically was I don't know what his actual main.
But literally in the stream, it's literally like two black dudes who literally painted their faces like pale white,
Yeah.
and just be hanging out in a convertible with actual white chicks.
They're doing it for comedy, hun. That's all I can really say.
Yeah, I know.
Here, hun. I'll talk about this later for you. So I'll go over that later. But
No, I'm saying I wish I didn't want to say this, but I don't know. It's just hard for me, dude.
It's fine.
What's going on?
Here, I'll kind of finish up this segment here. All right. So, court orders fair use briefing. So, in April, the case took an unusual precedent turn with Judge Tina L. Oh, of course, fucking woman judge. Oh my god. Tina L. Thompson ordered both sides of the supplemental briefing specifically for fair use. That's a rare in a DMCA subpoena case. The creators who filed their responses after the deadline again pointed out that they only used the limited content without corrupting the official release, meaning that they only used what they needed to do for the actual recap of their videos and channels, but they still transformed it enough. In their opinion, they transformed it enough to make it under fair use. The creator who filed the responses after the deadline. Okay, that is. Bosher Kim, for example, noted that the video reviewed episode 4 of a. Wait. I was under the impression that these recaps were like the typical recaps you see on YouTube, where it's like 30 minutes long, but they're recapping the whole show. No, these people are primarily recapping episode by episode. So these are probably like 5 to 7 minute long videos. They should be completely under fair use. Okay, you know what? Let's get into it. Boshikir, for example, noted that the video received episode 4 of Ninja and an Assassin under one roof. I did not like that anime. using roughly 50% of the episode, according to his filing. So here it is in the file. Furthermore, the context of the specific use, the creator nature of the original secondary transformative process, commentary, criticism, parody. The amount of substantive used, the content A approximately 15 minutes and 10 seconds in length, while the original anime was 12 episodes, approximately 24 minutes each. Totally of the 238 minutes content, a review of the episode 4 is originally worked the user approximately 5.27% of the entire series and about 15% of episode 4 specifically. In response, Kadokawa's attorneys pointed out that several precursors and errors, such as 2 of the 3 videos are no longer online. The company argued that the remaining one did little more than summarize the plot. Kadokawa's brief also pointed out the creators' pro se defense incorrectly, arguing the DMC subpoenas should not permit unmasking where the alleged infringed is disputed. The videos have been removed. Okay, so before I go into essentially what has been said, I used little of the actual episodes in my recap, as little as I can, but enough so people can have an actual idea of what I'm talking about. That's his argument. That's exactly how I thought about it too, because that's sometimes what I do when I do my what I'm going to be doing when I do my reviews. I have clips already like pulled away. For instance, one of the reviews I'm gonna be doing is a review I've been kind of working on for a while. It's for In Another World with a Smartphone. Horrible anime. I hate it. But I've been gathering so many clips for it specifically to make sure people have context for what I'm talking about in this review, right? This is a problem though with how the actual copyright system works, is because YouTube is not exactly clear on what is the exact amount of time of length a creator is allowed to use a clip for. It could actually hurt you. I could, for instance, one of my favorite creators, Mahler, the guy, he runs a podcast called EFAP. He's one of my favorite creators. He's the person I go to that's basically helped me kind of structure my concept of objectivity in media. He has a problem a lot of the times when uploading his content because he gets hit with a lot of strikes and a lot of like, hey, you got to take this out of your video. Hey, you got to do this about your video, because he puts in so much extra, like he wants to make sure you get enough clips, he get enough context, and you're hearing the characters talk, but because he uses a lot of video clips from like Disney, from Fox, from like all these different companies, they have their own third-party companies that go in and is like, hey, our job is to review to make sure you're not like fucking like, taking our shit. And so we'll strike you if you do. So he has to constantly take down a video, re-edit it, and re-upload it again. He's done it several times for the video I think he's done it the most for, in my opinion. Well, not opinion, but the one I've seen lately is he had to do it a lot for the Star Wars The Outlaws video. That shit is 14 hours long, dude. That sucks so much that he has to take down a video, go in and edit it and re-upload it because fucking fucking Ubisoft sucks. But, and then Kadokawa arguments is literally, it's not really so much an argument. They're pointing out a fact that seriously, because literally the other 3 videos are down and no longer up and available. They don't want them to go after them for this now, but go after the one that's currently up. So they're actually removing things that are part of the actual case. It's kind of like think of Power Word, right? Do you remember how Power Word and Nintendo were going for their shit? Because Power Word, in the process of the suit, this started to actually change a lot of the things that were being put in Nintendo's arguments. For like instance, like they're using the spheres. They can't do that. We patented the idea of like throwing fucking round things at creatures and putting them in their pocket. So Power was like, okay, we're gonna change that now. The animation's different. So they basically like had to forcefully lose that side of the argument. Nintendo did, because hey, one of the things you're arguing for is no longer an appliance to this, so we can't really like pass judgment on it because it's gone now. So we're just gonna drop that now from the suit, right? That's kind of what they're arguing now too. The problem is, because they're making that argument, they're putting it on this claim on one episode. And if that one episode is like not as well edited as the rest, this could fuck over the creator, because this gives the judge only one example of their like of their content, and they could make an argument saying like, oh, this may be one video, but this is how all their content is. In order to issue the July 17, Judge Thomas denied the motion of quash. The court found the fictional record spouse partly because the videos had been made private, and concluded that the creator's videos described the narrative that copyright work rather than criticize, parody, or alter it. Okay, so it looks like what they did by actually like arguing that because those videos were down, that can actually make it a hindrance, and it looks like that was successful. And they said because they described and narrated instead of actually what the courts found to be like actual ample criticism or parodied it, that is not considered under fair use. Unlike criticizing, parody, or otherwise altering copyright work, motivations treated by parodies of work is not sorted to creative or transformative use of copyright. Work is law permits. So in this case, they're attacking the fact that literally they recapped it, and they're probably not looking at the fact that they used set amount of clips or did this many edits. It literally is. It doesn't matter what you did visually. The fact that you didn't change what you were describing verbally, that's why we're not considering this copyright, which honestly I kind of find bullshit. Why is the seal dancing? The Wiggler is dancing because he likes to dance. That's why he dance. Look at him go. Look at little guy go. The ruling concludes that the creators are not protected under the fair use on the docket, and as they reproduce significant portions, Kadokawa content without any specifically transformative. Thomas pointed out that Berries versus YouTube, a similar ruling that was same court in February, where a channel was narrated chapters of a copyright books and was denied the same fair use protections. The rulings of the actual short time span suggest that the court is skeptical toward the narration and recap video format. Regarding the border market affected, Thomas held that even when the fictional impact on YouTube videos are not sustainable, the copyright owner's exclusive right to reproduce the work is enough to weigh against the fair use findings. And this is kind of, and then we're just going to end off with the YouTube's appeal. The ruling of the DMCA subpoena is not a full review of the merits, but it shows that the YouTube's popular narration and commentary genre is not considered under fair use by definition. Now, here's where I'm going to make an argument against it. No, it is not seen under fair use of California. You have to remember, like, we have our own, like, this is how we work as an actual country. We have the federal law, and federal law has its own actual findings and workings under what we see as copyright. States then have that same, states also work under that same law. However, they're able to add in amendments to what they see to be more. Like, basically, they're able to add on things more to it. This is why I believe why Kadokawa went with California, because I believe YouTube's main branch headquarters is located. Let me double check that. Where is YouTube's main office?
It's in what was the?
Yep, Sanbro, California. Look at that.
Yeah, Sambro. Yeah, I because I thought I fucking remember it. Cause I know it because they were talking so much about the YouTube headquarters shooter.
Exactly. So because it falls under the jurisdiction of California, they had to abide by California state law, which also technically works up with federal law. It's just that they have amendments that added into it. Like, for instance, let me to make sure I'm not just talking out of my ass. Federal law of copyright. So this is the copyright.gov, Copyright Law of the United States, Title 17. The related laws contained in Title 17 United States Code. This publication contains the text of Title 17 the United States Code, including all amendments entranced by the Congress through December 18th, 2025, includes the Copyright Act of 1976 and all the subsequent amendments to copyright law. The Citizenship Protection Act of 1984, thus amendment. So this just kind of gives you inference of every last chapter that goes over copyright. And all these are basically different case laws that have been done over the years from copyright, and basically cases that have won or lost, which basically set the precedent of how we go about reviewing case laws for copyright. This is why whenever you hear judges or lawyers state like, I made my ruling based off of this evidence, but I also used um, Brutal versus Dula case law number 188, right?
Mhm.
They're using a case that was previously set under the same like similar similar what's the best word I'm looking for? It was like there was similarities between that case and this one, so they're using it as the actual core example as what their ruling will be now.
Processing when it's recorded, right? Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Did you hear me? Did you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, just kind of finishing it up. The case is not over yet. There are 3 YouTubers who filed a notice to appeal and the Ninth Circuit. Now, I will say it doesn't always happen, but there are chances they appeal. The problem is because it's California, I'm having a hard belief that it's going to work. California is one of the worst states to actually like gain a win against many companies, especially when it comes to copyright. I do not like how California works when it's legal system, specifically because now this is my bias. California has a huge amount of progressive judges, huge. There have been multiple people.
In that state.
It's not even just that. Like there have been multiple case laws that have happened recently where like a judge, like a father lost their child in a fucking civil suit against their wife because the fucking judge had like it just doesn't like men. She basically even like had this like the lawyer even made an argument. Is like, hey,
Of course, it's a female judge.
well, it usually is. Like there have been more female judges that have entered the actual force of actual law because literally that's just the actual field they're going into. Which I'm not typically complaining. The problem is just because these people are bringing in their idealism into the actual courtroom that makes it a problem. If they would just act like normal fucking people, I wouldn't have a problem. But because you're bringing in your own fucking like retardation into it, that's where I have the problem. The U.S. case is not Kadokawa only enforcement action against the anime summary content. In April 26, Tokyo District Court convinced 39-year-old Watako Takuchi for the running monetized website to post a detailed written plot summaries of anime and films, including Godzilla Minus One and the Anime Overlord. The man received a suspension of 18-month prison sentence and 1 million yen fine. His site reportedly earned 36 million yen, $250,000 advertisement revenue in 2023 alone. For the 3 South Korean creators, there's no federal court, copyright claim yet. For now, this is a case primarily about whether YouTube must hand over their personal details or not. And that's where things might go up, escalate. If Kadokawa is able to actually get the personal details of these 3 South Korean creators, then it could be sent into a larger lawsuit because now they have their names. So I don't know. I haven't checked out the channel, but just from the actual recap places I watch, to me, again, my bias is here. I'm not afraid to always admit that I can be biased, especially against both Kadokawa and California.
Yep, understandable.
I watch a lot of recap. They typically do a really good job of adding in enough editing and enough length of time to actually give you the idea that this is expanded past what usually someone would do for copyright. Like the amount of edits that I see in the manga recaps I watch, like Jesus Christ, you would have to be sitting there for like days on end doing like the turning of the pages, adding the zoom in effects, adding in like the sound of all these crazy things, like the amount of time these things do get a lot of views.
They do. Like a lot.
But I will say it's different because I'm talking about manga that gets recapped versus actual animes. So I don't know what these guys do for their channels. I like to believe they do enough, but I've been shocked. There have been actual content creators who are very lazy and don't do any shit, don't do anything.
Yeah. We can see that.
So that was chibi stuff. I do have one more story, but my voice is starting to go because I have been talking for a shitload. Brutal. Did you want to do another stream this week?
I don't know. Probably not gonna have the time.
Do you think you'd be good for either Friday or Saturday if we did? Okay, so there's I will make a promise to you guys, right? There's I'll make a promise. I'm gonna end stream here because I've been talking for a while. My fucking throat. I don't want my throat to die. So I can guarantee you we're gonna make a new stream about this, but either just be me talking about it, or it will be me and Brutal. To give it like a again point episode 19.5 of Anna Mondays. That's what I was saying. There's just so much to talk about, and I wasn't even expecting me to talk about this much about these two subject matters. But these two are these two subject matters very interesting. I fucking have grown to hate Kadokawa. Like the more I keep covering them, Jesus Christ, can I be in a stream? Maybe, hun. Maybe we'll have to see like what we can cover with you, and I need to actually like have more time. I like I was telling Roberto, I don't mind collabing, but I need to make sure I have good synergy with people and how we discuss things. Because one, I don't want to be talking over people, and two, I don't want us to like be derailing things too much. I don't mind derailing. In any case, I think it could be really funny, but I want to make sure we stay on topic at least enough to like keep attention. But anyways, I'm gonna end things off there. Bruto, is there anything else you want to say to the people?
Do you know where you are? You're in the jungle, baby. You're gonna die. Yeah, that was annoying.
What the fuck was that from?
You know what I've been listening to, right?
Baby.
Oh, I think It's a Gundam did a reference to that too.
No.
Yeah, I think he did. Because I remember him. I remember him doing an opening.
Do you not know that line from that song?
Welcome to the Jungle Bar, ACDC.
No, it's not ACDC.
No, hon, I don't know it.
It's the guy who has do you not know the band members?
No. I told you I'm stupid. Why can't you believe me when I say these things?
Let's look. It's not only the song "Welcome to the Jungle," but there's also "Paradise City."
Take me down to the paradise city where the girls are pretty and the boys are pretty.
Yes, it's the
And
same
take
one.
me home. Yeah, again, I don't. I know songs, hon, but I don't know the whole band.
No, do you not know what band is that from that?
No.
songs.
No.
Guns N' Roses.
Okay, that's Guns N' Roses. Okay.
Paradise City in Welcome to the Jungle's Guns N' Roses. I don't know. Notice that.
I assumed, but like I don't know. My brain is getting fried. Leave me alone. Don't bully me. No bully. Anyways,
I mentioned that because I'm going to see Guns N' Roses.
wait. You mean like live?
Yeah.
Wait. Is Slash still alive? I thought he was dead.
No.
Dude, how old is Slash?
Dude is pretty young.
Dude is pretty young. What are you talking about? Wasn't he like in his 30s earlier? Like when they were first touring and shit?
No. He was like in his 20s, barely in his 20s when they made the first album.
Slash is only 61? Why did I think this dude was like 80?
No.
How does he look? Damn, Slash aged up well.
He still looks like the same one from the
He
80s.
does. There's not much difference between that and this. Jeez, this dude fucking aged well as hell. Dude, that's crazy though, because didn't Slash do a lot of drugs?
I think it was Axel who did more drugs than Slash.
But he still did quite a bit of drugs. Usually drugs fuck you up and actually like make you look more deformed as you get older.
A lot of, like, just because somebody else does more drugs doesn't mean the other band member does, because they do. I mean, we're talking about like 1980s over here, dude. Okay, bands did a lot of fucking illegal heists.
I need to see how Jean-Claude Van Damme looks. Really? Jean-Claude Van Damme still looks like that? How? This dude, hun, if you don't know the story, like Jean-Claude Van Damme was fucking literally snorting a stack of coke on the set of goddamn Street Fighter. This, like, do you know why that movie almost didn't happen?
It was because of that.
Not just because of that. Literally, the guy would be going to do filming, right? And literally, I forget what scene it was. It was a scene where like there was a bunch of explosions, but Jean Claude was like,
The actor who played M Bison died shortly after the film's release.
"Yeah, no, it's crazy." But like fucking this dude was coked out of his mind for majority of the filming of fucking Street Fighter. He missed filming for like almost an entire week because he went on a coke bender, and like the dude was like fucking thought he was like fucking God, and I forgot what he did, but like I think it was like something involving a limo. I don't remember exactly, but like Jean Claude was insane back in the day. I can't imagine this dude was anywhere close to being sober for when he did Bloodsport.
Yeah, I fucking love Bloodsport.
No, I love Bloodsport too, but I'm just saying like Jean Claude was out of his fucking mind, dude. And again, this dude did crook almost every day, and he still looks pretty damn handsome. He looks good for his age.
Same thing with Arnold or Stallone.
Yeah, but Arnold didn't really get into a lot of drugs.
What about Stallone?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think he did either. I don't think it's not worth doing the
Did
research because it's already getting way out.
Sylvester.
Are you still? No, I'm telling you, don't research. We're already.
I'm curious now. Do
Just
any
curious when it's already getting late.
drugs? Now this is gonna be co-pilot, so I don't know. Let's see. Stone has publicly admitted he used human growth hormone and testosterone replacement therapy, but he has not confirmed using. Huh?
Yeah, but that's not like.
Yeah, that's not anything crazy. Okay, yeah. So he's never actually done any hard drugs. The fuck? But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. Love you guys, and as always, you heard me say it. No matter what time it is for you guys, no matter where you guys in the ward, I hope you guys have a good morning, a great afternoon, a beautiful evening, and a blessed night. See you guys next time. Bye. Love y'all. See ya.